Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And on today's episode, we got to celebrate Kentucky's 18-point come-from-behind victory over Gonzaga. They started off this game terrible again, and I know a lot of people was probably getting worried, myself included. I knew it was going to be a tough game because we didn't have Lamont Butler. And then Kerr Kriisa, our backup point guard, ends up going out with an injury. So I knew this game could get ugly. I'm pretty sure whether the players will admit it or not, they probably felt that first little, taste of that Kentucky pressure where they probably seen some comments. They probably felt the energy. Kentucky fans was a little disappointed about that Clemson game. They had been playing pretty bad over the last several games, and they wasn't able to get the win against Clemson. So I know they was probably feeling a little bit of the pressure, and they wanted to come out and get this victory. And they started off playing terrible. But one thing that Mark Pope has been telling us since day one is they are going to play hard for 40 minutes. And, I can't deny it. That's what they do. They don't give up. They don't check out. Whatever he tells them on the bench, he keeps them in the game. He keeps them mentally feeling like they can win, and they was able to pull it out. Believe it or not by utilizing the three. They shot the three ball terribly again. I think overall they shot 28% for the entire game. But in the second half, they actually attacked the paint, and they shot 53% from inside the arc in the second half and 71% in overtime. So that's where they kind of, changed the outcome of the game, was attacking the paint. But, let's get into some of these highlights because, like I said, this was getting ugly. Kentucky was down 16 at half, and I think they went down by 18. And they ended up squeaking it out in overtime, 89-90. But I'm impressed, man. I'm happy. I'm satisfied that they was able to show enough heart and show enough will and focus to get this victory. So let's get into it. And like I said, initially, there's Kriisa with that three ball, but, he wasn't available for the majority of the game. So already, things was looking ugly. And if you look at these highlights, you would be like, okay, Kentucky's rolling, Kentucky's doing their thing. But it just went left. They had moments where they was looking good, they doing the pick and roll, but that Carr might have been the guy that saved us. Carr was getting busy. Carr was doing what he does. He was being physical. He was attacking the basket, and he was definitely getting to the free throw line. And that's probably what saved us. Carr ended up finishing the game with 19 points. 7 rebounds, and we needed every bit of it. Even though he missed those 2 key free throws at the end of the game, he did make the deflection that stopped Gonzaga from even getting the attempt at the basket. And, we came back home to Lexington with the victory. Shouts out to Jackson Robinson as well. He gave us 18. And Robinson, a lot of people kind of been, a little disappointed. I seen some comments. People was kind of hating on Robinson a little bit, saying, he need to take over more. He need to do more, especially in big games like this. And he did. So, shouts out to Jackson. He definitely did his part this game. But overall, man, Kentucky's, they played tough in the second half, man. They just kept fighting, whether they had their entire team or not, whether they had a actual point guard on the court or not. They just kept on attacking. But like I said, they was doing most of their work from inside the arc. Even though, let me see, they did end up hitting 7 3-pointers, which is decent, but they took 25. So, if we would have got that up around maybe, 10 or 12, we would have been sitting pretty. But I like how they, Pope was utilizing his offense. He had a lot of people rolling to the basket. He was getting the bigs a lot of easy looks at the rim, and that's probably what did it for us. And that's one of the things that I had been saying earlier. Some of these points in the game, that was a nice play right there. Yeah, of course, the pass could have been a little bit more crisp, but that was a good play. That was good action. And when we start doing more of that, along with the threes, we're going to be tough. Because I feel like Kentucky was becoming a little one-dimensional, a little predictable. So when you see plays like that, like Jackson Robinson utilizing his mid-range, and then, like I said, Carr right there, that was actually good defense. He bumped Carr off of his spot, but Carr had to settle for the turnaround jumper, but he hit it, though. You know what I mean? He had already gotten good enough position that even when he got bumped off his spot, he was still close to the basket. So he was able to get that jump shot. But, yeah, man, Kentucky, when it went to overtime, Kentucky took over overtime. And I'll say they took over the beginning of overtime because Gonzaga definitely made it interesting. At first, it looked like Kentucky was getting ready to blow them out in the overtime. I think they might have scored like the first 7 points before Gonzaga even scored a point in overtime or something like that. But Gonzaga hit a couple of big shots, and, they made it interesting. I was a little scared. That was a big play right there. Without that play, it might have been a wrap. And then right here, I was completely messed up. I was like, oh, my goodness. But like I said, Carr might have bricked them 2 free throws, but he made the play on defense. And, that was such a clutch defensive play because without that play, I got a feeling they might have threw it up and they might have went on and knocked us off if he would have got a chance to get that shot up, because the shot before that they had took was a crazy 3 and they hit it, and I was like, oh man, the momentum was starting to shift. So I was a little worried. So shouts out to Carr, even though, next time we got to get them free throws, big dog. But he played excellent, man. And I think he might end up being the key. Earlier in practice, I remember Pope was saying some stuff about Carr. He was saying that he's one of the best players, and I got to figure out a way to get him more involved in the offense. And I agree with that. I feel like he's the one that kind of gives us a nice balance because he can play right at the rim, he can play in the mid-range, and he's capable of, actually shooting the 3 ball some. So he's probably one of our most versatile players as far as scoring goes. And a lot of times in some of the earlier games, he was kind of getting left out a little bit. But I feel like going forward, especially in the SEC, he's going to be a guy that we're going to have to really keep involved on offense because he's just tough. He plays physical, like we was looking at the one play. He got bumped off of his spot, but he's just one of them guys that's going to keep attacking. And, he's able to improvise a little bit. He might not got the shot he was looking for initially, but he ended up with a good turnaround jump shot. But as much as I love Kentucky shooting the 3 ball, they might have to start playing more like this, balancing it a little bit, attacking the mid-range, because they got a couple of guys that can shoot the mid-range pretty good. Owe, he ended up giving us 13. He's been pretty consistent with what he contributes offensively, but he looked better when he was slashing to the basket as well. So we got to get some of these people attacking downhill. As much as, I love to see them knocking down the 3, they have been shooting it pretty bad the last couple games. I guess what would this be, the last 4 games maybe? They've been shooting the 3 ball terrible. They shot 28% again. But I just like to see them fight like this, especially against top-tier teams. I think, Pope is 2-0 against top 10 opponents. So he's showing that whenever he steps out on the court with the top-tier competition, he's able to compete. And then even if you want to throw the Clemson loss in there, that was a disappointing true road loss, but still he's, if you if you just base it on like Power 5, he's still playing really well. He's coaching really good against Power 5 competition, man. And, I feel like a lot of people got, especially like Kentucky haters, after we lost to Clemson, they was ready to write Coach Pope off immediately. They was ready to say, gotcha, I told you so. But I even think Pope was doing a good coaching job against Clemson. It just didn't work out in our favor. We just lost one. And, at the end of the day, like we've been saying, they playing in the SEC. The SEC is loaded with good teams. So it's going to be, probably several more games where we might even play good basketball and still lose because the SEC is just like that. Especially, I feel like it's going to be tough for all teams to win on the road this year in the SEC. I feel like most of the teams is capable of protecting home court. They have enough talent to where, along with maybe some of the favorable refereeing, that they'll be able to protect home court. So I feel like the majority of teams' losses in the SEC this year are going to probably come on the road. So, and I think that'll work in Kentucky's favor as well. I think we're going to probably protect Rupp Arena, Central Bank Center. I feel like we're going to hold that down, and we might end up losing some on the road maybe. But I was impressed because I'm not going to lie to you. I was at work and I was watching the game. I got kind of busy, so I didn't get to really lock in completely. But every time I was looking up, I was just like, man, this is getting ready to get ugly. Kentucky's getting smacked. And let me see, at the end of the first half, 50-34, Kentucky looked awful. So the second half, I'm just, I'm glancing back and forth, and I'm like, okay, they making a little run. All right, they got it down to this, they got it down to that, and the next thing you know, they were just keeping it around like between 7 to 3 points, and I was like, man, they playing good, but they just can't really crack the lead. And they pretty much played from behind the whole entire game until the very end. But, like I said, I'm impressed. Great victory, in my opinion. I know, a lot of people were saying we can't keep playing like this, come from behind. I understand all of that. I would love to see them, start the game turned up like they did in the second half and be more competitive from the beginning to the end. But I love the fact that, everything Coach Pope's been preaching, he's staying with it. And it's working out so far. He's telling us we're going to play hard for 40 minutes, and the guys are playing hard for 40 minutes. They're not giving up. They're not laying down for the opponent. They staying in it. And, man, they've been handling business. So going forward, I'm still excited. I'm still pumped up. Of course, it's, like I said, from here on out, it's just going to get tougher and tougher the more, we get into conference play. So get ready, get locked in, guys. It's going to be a fun season. We got a lot of work to do, though, but I can't wait to see how this is about to start turning out because we're going to know, by the time January is over, we're going to have a feel for what this team is really going to be like. And I'm loving it so far. But anyways, we'll wrap it up right there. You guys let me know what you think about Kentucky's come from behind 18-point deficit victory over Gonzaga to keep rolling, to keep improving. Let me know what you think about it. And also tell me what you think about Coach Pope's, just his overall, give him a grade as a coach so far. Give him a 1 out of 10 scale grade, what you think he's done so far. And we'll get back at it next time. Sports and Discourse with Derek Stevenson.